Hi, welcome back to my channel, On the Road with Susan. I just happen to be Susan. Normally the videos on my channel are all about adventures, places to go, things to see, roadside attractions. But you know, one thing those videos all have in common is it takes money to go see those places. I don't care what anybody tells you. It takes money. Whether even if you get a free hotel room from your travel blog, you still need to buy food. So don't kid yourself that those things cost money. So recently I retired, and retirement is financially a little rough, especially if you're like me and you fly by the seat of your pants and you didn't save a whole lot. In this video, we're going to talk about one of the side gigs that I do that helps subsidize my travel addiction. It's mortgage home inspections. So let me get into it, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So let's talk a little bit about what exactly home mortgage inspections are. So this is after you've already purchased your home. This is not a pre-mortgage inspection where you're checking what needs to be fixed. This is after you've already purchased a home, and maybe you're running into some problems and you're starting to get behind on your mortgage. And so this sends up red flags to the mortgage company because they have a vested interest in that property. I mean, after all, some of these properties are worth quite a bit of money. So I'm just watching these people beside me. So they get concerned and they need to get some eyes on that property. They will send somebody like myself out to the property to get some eyes on it. They want to know, is it vacant or occupied? They want to know if it's damaged. Just what is the situation with the house? And those are like exterior visits. Now, you'll see these cutesy little pictures where you don't get out of the car. Well, in Pennsylvania, we get out of the car because you're taking a front view of the picture, you're taking a left side, a right side, a back of the house. That is if it's vacant. Oh, let me go backwards. So if the house is still occupied, you don't really want to go on. If the house is still occupied, you don't want to go on a property. So from the sidewalk, you need to observe what you see, whether it is decorations in the front yard, mail. What determines, what gives you the indication that that house is occupied? Are there kids running around in the front yard? Is there a dog? Just what gives you some indications? A car in the yard? That's an obvious one. But then you have to give like 3 times. For some companies, you have to give 3 factors of why you feel that it is occupied. If it's not occupied, and it's obvious that it's not occupied, you've gone and you looked and there's mail piled up, there's, I don't know, you can just kind of get a vibe that, yeah, no, this place isn't occupied. Maybe a neighbor. Neighbors are great because they pop out of nowhere and they want to know, what in the world are you doing? So you've kind of determined that the house is vacant. And then you can take pictures. You can walk around the house if it's vacant and take pictures of the backyard, the air conditioning unit, the gas meter. Electric meter is a big thing. You want to check the electric meter to see if the electric is still on. And then you really want to check to make sure, is the house secured? Like, are all the windows closed and locked, or are they broken out? Do you see maybe vandals have been there? Just exactly what is the situation with the house? That is an exterior type of visit. And each company There's tons of companies out there. Now, there are companies and then there are like vendors. And the vendor, how do I explain this? The vendor is like the third party. So these are the mortgage companies here. They hire the vendor to hire people to go out and look at these homes. And that's me over here. So I'm like 2 away from the mortgage company. Now, I may have information on who the mortgage company is, but in this situation, they didn't hire me. In other situations, the mortgage company can hire you, and you'll see their names on various papers throughout. So that is one of many types of home inspections that there are. One of the things you need to keep in mind when you're starting to investigate this type of career, and you can make it a full-time career, you just have to be smart about it. But one of the things you need to keep in mind is everybody's situation is different than yours. If I'm watching a video of somebody in California and they say, I'm not going to drive more than 20 miles, that may work in California, but that may not work in Pennsylvania because our area is more spread out. We have a lot of rural area where there's a good space between people's houses, and you have to determine what works best for you. I've spoken to numerous people, and they're right in my area, but what they're willing to do and what I'm willing to do are 2 totally different things. Some people may think volume is the way to go. Like, how many houses can I get done in one day? Even though the price or the pay scale is really low on that house, how many can I get done? Well, that's not me. I'm not in that fast paced, gotta move real quick kind of thing. So I looked for companies that pay more because I'd rather take my time of doing what I'm doing. I don't want to have to go real fast, and I'm not in like the inner city, so I'm not familiar with that area. I'm more in a suburb, and I prefer to go at a slower pace. So these are things that you have to really keep in mind. Each video that you watch, you just learn a little tidbit from each one, and then you have to put together your information and come up with your own collective thought. And then you're going to have to determine what works best for you. One of the ways to get started is there are several Facebook groups out there, and I could put a link in the description below to some of those groups. There are a couple different apps that you could try out, and they will give you like one type of inspection to do. You won't get like a whole list, especially like in my area. I don't hardly get much out of it, but it'll give you some stepping stones to see if this is something that you really want to look into. Every company that you encounter or somebody tells you about acts different than the other ones. There is no set across the board, this is what everybody does, or this is what everybody pays. Everybody pays a little different, and it also depends on what territory you may want to go into. I work for one company and another guy works for the same company. He gets paid on one scale and I get paid on another because I go into a totally different area than he does. And so that's what you have to kind of like test the waters and feel it out. So these are some of the things that are pretty much in common with all of these different types of businesses that you would approach. They're all going to want a background check. Now, what varies is some will pay for them for you. Some will cost you $5. Some will cost you $65. Some will cost you $50. Now, one background check company might charge me $65 in Pennsylvania, but if you live in New York, they charge you $150. So it varies upon what state you're in, what area you're in, and things like that. So you definitely have to take a background check. Second thing is, one company has indicated to me that I have to take a drug test. I don't have a problem with that, but it's just another thing you have to do. Another company wants me to have E&O insurance, accident or errors and omissions insurance, like $1 million. Now that sounds like a lot, but you buy a policy, and for me in my area, a policy is about $800 a year. So you have to kind of figure that out. Like, is this worth it for me? Some companies are going to require you to have different types of tools. Those are kind of sometimes different type of inspections. Now, the other type of inspection that there is, it is an insurance inspection. And I'm just getting involved in those. So I will give you more information about those later on down the road when I have had an opportunity to do some of that type of work. I personally like this because I have a sense of freedom. I get to go places that I would never go, because now that I'm retired, I pretty much sit at home, and if I don't go out and do things, I don't get out. So this gets me out and about, keeps my driving skills up and dealing with all of that. The good thing is I don't have to deal with coworkers. I don't have to deal with anybody. And everything is on my own terms. So, for instance, Monday, I had to take my mother to the doctor's. So I don't work. But I don't have to go and beg anybody, oh, I need the day off because I need to go and do this. I just don't work. Now I have vacations coming up, and I message these companies that I work for and say, put my accounts on hold. I'm going to be gone for 5 days. And they say, okay. And that's it. So you have a tremendous amount of flexibility and control. Okay, so now I'm going to give you 5 apps that you can register with to see if field inspection is something that might be up for you. Now, keep in mind, not all of these apps are going to have jobs in your area. They all vary. Prime example is, some people, I watch videos, and some people say they have tons of jobs in their area, and in my area, not so much. So it's always going to vary. One of the nice things about registering on the apps is, in the near future, I have some house sitting to do. So now when I'm in a different area, I can use the app to find jobs within that area and still get paid to do house sitting, as well as get paid to do inspections. And some of the things with these apps, the basic things you're going to need is, 1, a vehicle. Ideally, a vehicle that gets great gas mileage. My little car gets 30 miles to a gallon. Perfect for this type of work. The other thing is a smartphone. Now, just any old smartphone isn't going to be good enough. You have to be able to take really good pictures, and a lot of the companies are going to have their own private software that you're going to download. Now, for these apps, you're still going to have to upload videos, or not videos, but you're still going to have to upload pictures. So it has to be of a quality type of smartphone, something that maybe is up to date. So keep that in mind. Okay, so let's start with the first one. The first one is iViewIt. Now, it is an app, and I find this app to be a little challenging for me because it has time limits on when those jobs need to be completed. Second one is ProxyPix. Same thing, you're still going to have to fill out application. Now, bear in mind, these are probably still going to need you to do a background check, and you're going to have to pay for it. The next one is photo inspection. Now, I've done some work for photo inspection. A couple things popped up right in my area, which was great. It did take a couple weeks to get paid from them, and that's common with a lot of them. Some companies, not so much the apps, but some companies have a 30-day net, which means you won't see money for the first 30 days from them. And other companies are getting a lot better where they're paying like 1 week behind. You work this week and you get paid next week. So those are just some things to keep in mind. The next one is TrendSource. Now, TrendSource makes you do a background check. They do several different things, but they also do mystery shopping. And I'm going to talk about mystery shopping in another video. I have done mystery shopping for years. Another app is Velocity Rio. It's the same thing. It does property inspections, and you have to go through the procedures to register in with them as well. Now, one other place I'm going to tell you that I think you really need to investigate if this is something you want to do. The acronym is SOFI, SOFI, which stands for the Society of Field Inspectors. I'll put that link in the description below. That is where you register. It's free to register, and then companies find you and will approach you to see if you're interested in working for them. So I hope you found this information helpful to give you some kind of idea how you can help subsidize your travel addiction. Now, I wish I would have found field inspection work years ago when I was like in my peak money making phase, whether it was about 40 to 50 years old. Even when I was 50, we did not have the technology that we have today. So if I would have found field inspection a lot earlier, I would have done it more full time and got myself out of the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday rat race, because I have to tell you, I'm so glad I'm out of it. But just keep in mind that I'm 67, so if I can do field inspections, so can you. Now, there are a lot of other different types of inspections to be done, and I will bring those up in future videos. But until next time, check out these field inspection jobs.